Good morning, boys and girls. My name is Miss Lisa and welcome to my kitchen. This month we've been talking all about the creativity. And the creativity is imagining what you can do because you made in God's image. Hi, boys and girls. Hi, everybody. Did you like my Italian accent? I am back in my kitchen this morning to share with you some other really cool ways that God is creative. Now, all this month, I've been sharing with you some neat tidbits about our world that God created that was pretty smart and pretty creative. Well, I've got one more for you today. And I'm in my kitchen using my Italian accent because today's really cool thing is all about salt. That's right. God even had a plan when he created salt. Even that little tiny something that we don't even think of was created for a purpose. So, have you ever heard or seen of salt flats? I'm going to show you a picture. Now, they might look like sand, but it's actually salt. And salt flats are created when the lakes and the deserts dry up. So cool. Also, what about the Dead Sea? Have you heard of that? So the Dead Sea was actually a sea near where Jesus lived. And that sea has so much salt in it that it's actually even impossible for people to sink because of the amount of salt. Now, you guys might be used to that at the ocean, right? We taste that salt water. And even that's important for the creatures in the ocean to survive. They need that salt in the ocean. So that just shows you how creative God was in every tiny detail of his planning. And if he can think that much about salt, he surely had a great amount of creativity when he created you. So we know, boys and girls, that when Jesus was on the earth and he did his teachings, wherever Jesus showed up, people came. They wanted to hear the words come out of his mouth because they knew that anything Jesus said was going to be pretty important. So on one particular day, Jesus was out teaching, huge crowd gathered around. And normally he told stories, parables, right, to help teach people about God's love. Well, in today's story, what Jesus told the people was this. Check it out. We're going to be looking at Matthew chapter 5, verse 13. And it says this: "You are the salt of the earth." Now, can you imagine? You're there with Jesus, hundreds of people. Jesus takes the microphone and says, "People, you are the salt of the earth." The people were probably like, what? Jesus, can you repeat that? What does that even mean? Well, first things that we need to remember is back in the old day, salt was really valuable. So unlike today where we can go to the grocery store and we can buy one of these for like 50 cents, back in those times, salt was worth a lot. And in fact, sometimes even Roman soldiers were paid with salt because it was so valuable. And it was also used to preserve meat. Now remember, back in Jesus's days, there weren't refrigerators or ice boxes. So they would use the salt to sprinkle on the meat, and that would help preserve it longer before they cooked it. So it was really important for people to have salt, or the food that they had would get rotten too quickly. Also, salt was used to make purple dye, which is why we see kings and queens quite often wearing purple robes, because it was supposed to mean that it was expensive, right? They had to use salt to make the purple dye color in those clothes. So yeah, salt was really valuable. And God was saying to the people, you are the salt. You are valuable. And we should be like that. We should be there to help preserve things and keep them fresh and good. We are there to show God's love to everyone around us. And there's no limit to God's creativity. He made the sun and the moon. He made darkness, or he turned darkness to light. He made creatures, and he made you and me. And like I said earlier, if he can even have a purpose for salt, he definitely has a purpose for us. And he wants us to share our talents and all of the creativity in us to help share his story. And that's our bottom line for today. God created you to share his story. So like I said, figure out what you're really good at and use that to help talk to others about Jesus. Just like Jesus used the analogy with salt when he was sharing the good news that day. So boys and girls, I have a really fun craft for you today, and it actually has to do with salt. Now, thankfully, like I said, today, salt is very easy to find. It's very inexpensive. So we're going to do a little craft with our salt today. So what you need is a piece of cardstock, some glue, salt, of course, and then you're going to need some water and some food coloring and a paintbrush. So what we're going to do is make these pretty little salt pictures. And it's kind of like glitter, but it has a neat little step to it. So the first thing you're going to do is make a shape, and I think we should start with a pencil first. Draw your shape, whatever you want, on your paper. Now, a good idea I had was if you have any cookie cutters, you can use those and trace, and then you can have some pretty shapes. So I'm going to use my kind of flour cookie cutter, hold it down with one hand, and I'm just going to trace it. Now you can draw whatever shapes you want on your paper. And in fact, I'm going to show you in just a second, I actually already did a heart. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. There you go. A heart on this paper yesterday. Because this art craft kind of is 2 steps. And I wanted to do the first step last night so it would dry so I could show you. So anyway, I have my flour. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my glue to glue on the flour. Or glue, on the lines. Just like you would if you were going to glitter something. So let's see if I can get my glue to come down. Okay. Here we go. So I'm going to put my glue just on the outline of my flower that I just drew. Like I said, you can draw whatever picture you want. You can draw a fish, you could draw a flower, you could draw hearts, stars, a ball. So I have my glue. Now I'm going to sprinkle my salt on top of my glue, just like I would do with glitter. So I'm just going to use this since I already have it out and I don't want to waste it, but you could shake it from your salt container too. So I'm just sprinkling the salt on top of the glue so that it sticks. And you could use any kind of cardstock. It doesn't have to be white. There you go. So now what I'm going to do, just like you would with glitter, is just tap the excess off. There you go. Now, once you do that step and you have all of your pictures with salt on it, you want to let it sit and dry, maybe even overnight, before you do step 2. That's why I did my heart last night, because I wanted it to be nice and dry for to show you today. So the step 2 is the painting part. So I have a little bowl of water here, and I'm just going to add some food coloring. And what you might want to do is do a couple bowls and do like a red one, a green one, a blue one, so that you have different color water. So I added my food coloring and I'm just going to mix it up. I'm going to stir the food coloring. I don't know if I have a good Italian accent or not, but it sure is fun. Okay, so now, remember, I did my heart last night, so that's the one I'm going to do. So what you're going to do now is take that colorful water, and you're basically gonna paint the salt. And what's kind of neat, I'll show you in a minute, is that the salt kind of absorbs the paint. So it's not even really like you're painting, it's kind of like you're just adding the little drops of colored water to the salt. And then it just kind of like spreads out over. You can see it coming in. So I'm just kind of tapping the colors. It kind of has a really pretty watercolor effect. Now, I'm not gonna do my flower yet because that one's still drying. But it kind of soaks it up. Now, if I had made some blue water or red water, I could mix the colors too and do like a little green and then a little red and kind of do a rainbow effect, which I think would be really pretty. And this is called salt painting. So 3 steps. Draw your picture, do the glue, then let it dry, then go back and paint. So you may want to do this part now, and then later this afternoon, go back and paint. And there you have it. And when you're finished, you kind of have this beautiful textured watercolor picture, just like I did here. You can see here, I had some red food coloring that actually turned kind of pink. Looks really pretty. So boys and girls, I hope you have a wonderful day today. If you do today's project, take a picture, send it to me right at the address below. I love to see you interacting with me in our Sunday school time. Remember, you are created in God's image and you are wonderful. Have a great week, boys and girls, and I'll see you soon. Bye.